I was a miserable person. I was so unhappy. I had nothing to say but my struggles, my inner pain. And the fact that there was never any connection between the mind and the body. Never. I couldn't do it. The stress was so incredible. And it was 2.5 years. I was able to do exercise. I trust myself. Don't think that it means you're getting back into bed and you'll never get out again. Unbearable fatigue. Like I say, cement entering in, and it's not like I'm tired, I need to lie down. It's like you can't move. I can't walk very far and I can't breathe. And I went outside to take a walk and I couldn't walk. So I just sat down. I mean, I can't believe how it incapacitates me when I'm upset. First of all, I love being by myself now. I never feel lonely. I never feel I just feel whole and happy and creative and interested in this and that. I also love getting out. I'm in a play. I'm doing really great meditations with this Soma breath, breathing with music, eating really moderately and healthy and amazing. And the relationship with Kayla is fantastic. She's coming in a week and I couldn't be happier. It has changed. Sunday I had a wonderful day. I had high energy. I was able to do exercise. I'm joyous. I'm actually joyous. I travel around the block, take another street, and I go, oh, that was great. I mean, I'm enjoying everything. I was right back on track. The program is really exceptional in that it's so meaningful. Plus, those calls were like a lifeline. And the school was a lifeline. And I absolutely knew that I could trust you. And I did. I never looked back.
How's it going, Thrivers? Miguel here from CFS Recovery. In this video, we have a very special person, Anne, all the way from Nice in France. She's 86 years old, about to be 87 in June. And she's somebody who's had such an amazing transformation over the last handful of years. She was dealing with a lot of CFS symptoms for about 4 years. And at her worst, she was pretty much couch bound, walking around with a cane, could barely stand up. A lot of small things triggered her. She had a lot of fatigue, shortness of breath, so many other things. And today she is living her best life. She's opened up a whole new chapter of life that is very fulfilling. And also very interesting fact, she actually has her PhD in psychology. So she understood, and you understood a lot of how the brain works and everything, but it wasn't until implementing things in a certain way that it actually all clicked. But Anne, you want to quickly introduce yourself to everybody on here?
Hi, my name is Anne. I'm really happy to be here because I'm really, really grateful to CFS. And anything I tell you that will inspire you, I'm happy to share.
Yes, it's been such a remarkable journey. I still remember our first conversation much less than a year ago, but very, very different life you were living. But for you, I want to shine the spotlight on you. Let's go back in time to where this all began. When did you start getting symptoms? And maybe even before that, what was life like leading up to the illness and getting sick with this?
Well, I just kind of made a little chart informally because I was looking over things today, and I can divide my life into 4 parts. So the part is birth to before I got sick, physically. And the second part would be the COVID and the COVID long and this whole nightmare. The third would be the transformation, the last 6 months of working with you and Junior and the program. And the final chapter, which is honestly the most exciting, are all these flowers blooming from the ideas that have taken root. And, it's interesting because everybody always told me, Anne, you should write a book. I had an adventurous life. I went and lived in Greece when I was 1964, for heaven's sake. I mean, I've done this, but you know what? I've always said I was a miserable person. I was so unhappy. I had nothing to say. I was, and it's only now that I feel, yeah, I could say authentically something that I think is meaningful and important up until this point. So to just give you the background, if you want to hear the story, but it's going to be short of the
Sure.
prior.
Yeah.
Um, Basically, I was born like a sunshine person, but I was trained from a very early age to be ashamed of that that I was stupid for being smiley. Just horrible. I had a horrible parent. I won't go into it. But I remember, and I was very unhappy. And um, I remember when I was 8 years old, I went to a summer camp. I lived in Brooklyn, New York. And I went to a summer camp and I got in with the 8.5-year-olds because I wanted to learn to swim, which I never ended up doing. But so we were all in these tents and nobody at 8.5 wet the bed. But I was really only 8 still, even they didn't, but I wet the bed. And of course, in those days, they put the sheet up in front of everybody. The entire tent made fun of me. I was a complete outcast, as I was at school and at home, and miserable. There was one girl that she was very out of it also, very heavy girl, and I was really nice to her. We were the only ones who would speak to each other. No one had anything to do with it. And then her mother sent a big box of candy, and she suddenly turned around and offered it to all these other girls and ignored me. She walked away from me. And the reason I'm telling you this, I wrote a short story about it, like maybe when I was 10, I don't know. But the last line was, maybe in the fall when I go back to school, things will be different. And that has basically been the story of my life, which is why I'm telling you this story. My
Mm.
poor sister, she went inward. She was suicidal for years. Me, I went outward and I went to the next, always the next horizon, always searching, exploring, trying, and always coming back to my misery. And on the one hand, part of me functioned like a type A, driven, get the PhD, do the work. Professionally, I came across as a teacher, as a psychologist, as a coach, fine. But my struggles, my inner pain, and the fact that there was never any connection between the mind and the body, never, I couldn't do it. And I was completely emotional. And just one other quick story, because this is amazing. When I was 3 months old, my mother bragged to everybody that she had the perfect child. The minute I'd start to cry or anything, she just stuffed a piece of candy in my mouth, and I always behaved. Can you imagine being
Mhm.
addicted at the age of 3 months? So one of the biggest problems is that when I couldn't deal with all these feelings, my go-to was to make myself sick on food, sweets essentially. And I'm just going to jump ahead on that because of all this, when I realized, thank you, Ariel, thank you, Junior, that this was a symptom. And that's what was killing me. And when I really realized it was a symptom, it wasn't something I could, because I just could not control. In fact, you know, if it comes over me even now, but I can stop now. I mean, it's changed completely. So that was then. Then I never got COVID. I was really always into alternate health, healthy food, this and that. And I had a lot of energy, never physical, but a lot of energy. I didn't want to take the shots. I just did not want to take the vaccine. I didn't feel it was right. And for 2.5 years, I was continuing to tango, even though we weren't allowed out. I hugged a couple of people who turned out had COVID. Nothing happened to me. Then
Mhm.
I had the vaccine. I went it's because I wanted to go home and visit my family. Big mistake. They encouraged me. Well, we all had the vaccine. There's nothing. I said, okay, okay. That was in March. I had 2, April, March, whatever. Went there in May. In August, I got sick. And that was when it was over. But I got it. And it was normal, 10 days, fever, blah, blah, blah. And it went, it tested fine after 10 days. But the fatigue, never, it got worse and worse and worse. I could never talk to you like this without, even just
Hmm.
walking. It was horrible, but I didn't know. I went to every doctor. You've heard this story because this is exactly the same as the others. But, there's nothing wrong with your heart. There's nothing wrong with your lungs. There's nothing wrong. I'm sorry, I can't find anything. I can't. And I was dying. And, but I didn't know what it was. It just kept getting tired, more and more tired. And I then did the worst possible thing. I pushed myself through because that was my personality. Keep going, keep exercising. The stress was so incredible. And it was 2.5 years. And that was a part of this getting sicker, sicker, sicker. But I kept going. So then I started going online because before it never occurred to me to go online. Didn't. And then I ended up, I don't know, I don't want to give too many details here, but I ended up finding a program in Cyprus that I said, I have to do this because I have to get well and
Mm.
to remove your blood and blah, blah, blah. And I did it. And it was, thank God, my veins are too small to handle that kind of a needle. And I had a decent, really wonderful doctor who said to me, Ann, I wouldn't do this because they were going to give me a catheter. And she said, at your age. So I changed it. I came home. I was not better. I was in a wheelchair going to be. And I said, okay, I'm, I'm, I have to accept this. This is my life now. It's very limited, but I have to accept it. And then I was back online and the Stanford guy, professor, oh, at least 25% of people never get it. It will never get well. And I go, well, obviously, there I am. And
Hmm.
then it was that Renee, I guess, I forget her name, the one who talks to everybody. She had a guy on there from England, and he was like an artist on the walls. And he said, one day I woke up and this was it. And it was your program. And I don't know his name. I don't know his name, but I just said, oh my gosh. And then I started listening. And I'm so grateful. I mean, I can't tell you that it went down to that depth of despair. And now I'm feeling so, so positive. And yeah.
That's so such a powerful story. Um, it's been quite the journey for you, and I'm so glad you found us when you did. And I'm curious, as somebody who had studied the human body and especially the brain. I mean, some people when they're going through this process, that recovery, this medical gauntlet of going to doctors and blood tests and scans, and everybody's telling you, "Oh, you're actually normal. There's nothing wrong." What was going through your mind, especially with your background, having studied a lot of the brain and any of these things? Did you have any idea at first that this could be coming from your brain?
No, never even occurred to me. Never. I saw myself as physically ill. The
Hmm.
doctor's supposed to help me. I don't take medicine, but normally, but I do alternative things. But I know it never occurred to me. Now I do know, mind, body, talk, and everything. But I have to say, I'm kind of glad I told you about my early past
Hmm.
because that cut off my mind body connection. My digestive system never worked. My I'm very emotional. I mean, I cry in every movie. Everybody makes fun of me. I cry at every book I read, but I don't feel anything myself. I can't feel anything. I never could connect. And I did have a really traumatic experience. I've many traumatic things. I walked around like acting out life. I lived in Greece, for heaven's sake. And I sit there, look at the sky, look at the mountains, look at the sea, but I never felt anything. I saw a picture.
Mm.
I never
Yeah.
experienced sunset. I never experienced the sunrise. I never experienced anything except eating. And then I would cut myself off when it was because I couldn't feel. And and I think I went into psychology with the hope that I could overcome this emotional um, paralysis or I think many people do go into psychology therapy. And I actually was a great psychologist, a great teacher. I was really able to help so many people, but not myself. And
Mhm.
yeah, it never even occurred to me. And the biggest thing of all the things, and you've said it so many times, but it is absolutely the way you react is the difference. You know, every time I felt fatigue, it was like catastrophic. Oh my God, proof. Here it is. Don't try to tell me that stupid positive thinking. Yeah, I can jump off a bridge. I'll be fine. It's bullshit. And I would go back to being sick again. And then when I'm realizing this is my body's way of protecting me, okay, I'm going to make sure you don't move. I mean, I was the biggest insomniac. I sleep like a log. Everything works. And I couldn't, and I couldn't. And then I woke up and I said, I'm not going to, just going to wait. This will go away. Let's react positively. And the next day I had it again. And I go, Anne, your body's telling you something. And I went back to my normal way of processing it. And I suddenly felt it. I was completely aware. And I go, no way. I'm going to protect myself. My body is going to tell me what to do. And you know what? I wrote in my little recovery journal, well, I'm going to have a great day today. I'm going to start practice being happy again. And it was completely gone. Sunday, I had a wonderful day. I had high energy. I was able to do exercise. I trust myself, because I say, I was going a little slower than I should have, maybe. But I say, Anne, you can trust yourself that you want to do this. So if your body
Mhm.
won't do it, trust it. Don't think that it means you're getting back into bed and you'll never get out again. Trust it. And what I found is that it's like a dance now that I'm living. My body, it's like my soul wants the sun, it wants joy, it wants life, it wants participation. Um, but my body says, no, just at the speed of safety, you can't just do this. And I'm going, yeah, it's okay. And I don't feel the things that I don't feel. I think in my lifetime, I always felt out of the circle. I always felt envious. I always felt unloved. I always felt unbelonging out. And so I was always envious. I was always wishful. I was always hoping for other people too much. And now it's like the ego does not get in the way at all. I used to love to travel, but I don't travel. I travel around the block, take another street, and I go, oh, that was great. I mean, I'm enjoying everything. So, yeah, there you go.
That's yeah, it's such a different way of going out and about through the world. I'm kind of the same way. Miguel 8 or 9 years ago was just sprinting through life and everything was just like a to-do list, and I didn't feel too many really good emotions or fulfillment or excitement. I
Hmm.
felt like I was always behind or playing catch up, but now I'm able to do that and I'm much connected to my emotions. And I guess because I had to figure that part out in order to recover, but get back in touch with my body, because that's kind of the only way to recalibrate the nervous system.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when you heard about this guy who was doing all this painting and then he recovered and he used, some of our principles to
No,
help with
totally.
that.
He totally, it was a program. And then I heard the other one who works for you, Adrian. I'd
Yeah.
heard the story, and I just started really, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I said, oh my God, these kids, how, they're not even professional. They don't, how are they going? And I go, Anne, you know better than that.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful, that
Yeah.
yeah, because I thought, oh, I need to. So I started looking into other programs that were more professional. And I go, God, this is all so boring. I mean, what do you get here? They give you the story and you have to, and then maybe you can go. And I go, no, no, no. When I talked to you, and I was apprehensive because I thought, Ann, you went to Cyprus, you spent all that money, these so sure something's going to work. You give it everything, and then of course it doesn't, and you throw it away, the baby with the bathwater, and it's done. And I go,
Mhm.
you got to be careful. And honestly, I was talking to you, that interview, and I wasn't going to go to the interview because I read a negative thing, and I go, see, you have to do due diligence. You never do it. And then I go, well, you know what? It's all scheduled. He's going to call, so let's just do it. Ah, it was like, oh my God. There was not, you know, at the end of that interview, our first interview, I joined immediately. I walked out, I threw the cane away, and I literally walked up and down the promenade. Not far, but it was like, whoa. And then, of course, I went back to the game and got, but it was amazing. And I absolutely knew that I could trust you. And I did. I never looked back.
Yeah,
And
you've
yeah.
done
And
amazing too.
even that wonderful junior. I mean, I said, oh my God, Disneyland. My daughter, she went to Disneyland. I can't stand it. Just even thinking about it gives me a headache. How am I going to listen? He's so brilliant and he's so cool and he's so amazing. And I have total respect. I'm very, very grateful.
Yeah, Coach Junior is awesome.
He
For
is.
for
He's
you, like, what made your mind open to the idea of even trying something like neuroplasticity or this approach? Because a lot of people, they can get stuck in their own way of thinking because they've done it so long for so many years. Now, you're somebody who is 86, and even you were open to these ideas and trying something different, kind of outside the norm of typical, medical intervention. So what made you open to this idea and be willing to try something like this?
Well, part of my background also, I was born in Brooklyn, but I lived 35, 40 years in San Francisco. So I was right there, with the raw food, with the Zen, blah, blah, blah. And there are many people from San Francisco in this field, and Alan Watts and all of this. And I love the concepts. I love the yogis. I loved the power of your subconscious mind. I was always curious and I'm always a learner, but I would try these things and they just didn't work for me. Um, but I think, so I know a lot about it. I know a lot about it, but only at an intellectual level, not at a embodiment level in
Mhm.
any way. So every time I would try something and then I'd feel really disappointed. And then even the therapist, I can't tell you how many therapists I have. And they would give me these ideas. What's his name? Eckhart Tolle and this one,
Mhm.
miracles. And I read it, oh, that makes sense, but it didn't register, it didn't transfer. Something here, it was some of those, I loved your videos. I watched so many of those videos because they're short, they were clear, they were visual. I could see it, I could feel it, and say, okay, this is what I have to try. And then having a junior to be accountable for it, to keep it going. So I would try it out. And the first time I said, I'm desperate. I have this appointment and you're canceling yours. And I set her up for 5, but I need to know. And he called me back and he said, I'll write something out for you. And he wrote out a script. And do you know, it was the first and last time he ever did it for me. I put it in front of me. I was very calm. I said those words. The change in that moment, in the reaction of what normally would turn into it was like, oh my God. And everything you guys taught me, I trusted and I did it. And that's how it made the difference, why it changed. I actually did it. I saw the results. I felt the results. Yeah. And I'll tell you something. I was so proud of myself. You told me, you said, Anne, I think 6 months is all you're going to need from the first time you talked to me. And oh yeah, I knew that. And I had my little relapse, adjustments, and I managed them. And 2 days later, I was fine. Da, da, da. And we're going along fine. And in September, when I was less than 1 month away from the 6 months, I had the worst adjustment, the worst. It was so bad. I went on this cruise with my friend. I was so, it was a disaster. It was so bad. But even knowing that, I realized that all the changes I had made up until the point when I was hit with this had not gone away. It didn't change my new relationship with my daughter. It didn't change my ability to see and be aware. And when it lifted, it was so close to the deadline. But when it lifted, I knew it would never come back. I knew it, and it never has. And I knew it because I said, just what you say. It's not that you're not going to have problems. It's not that you're not, but you know how to deal with it. And that's exactly right. Even these last 2 days, one day, okay, it's still here. Second day, wait a minute. Okay, I know it. It's talking to me. You're choosing this? No, I'm choosing peace, protecting my peace at all costs. I'm setting my boundaries. I'm taking care of me. And it doesn't make me love anybody less, but I was right back on track.
The bounce
My
back time
energy
is a
back,
master.
everything. Now, let me
Uh,
put this, my physical capacity, my mental capacity is like 100% shifted. And it can't go back. I never feel sorry for myself anymore. I have no negative thoughts anymore. I'm looking for my happy surprises every day because okay, life is unpredictable, even in the world, of course. But it's okay. I'm aware. I'm happy. I'm not stopping myself. I'm not punishing myself. I'm not. It's just incredible. Yeah, it feels so good.
you know, the script that Junior put together for you to have that conversation with this thing that it definitely was affecting your recovery. And, a lot of people, they believe that we just come in and we say, okay, and or anybody go do this, okay, rest, go walk more, okay, rest, go walk more. But it's so much deeper than that. And this is like a perfect example of
Yes,
something that was tailored to your personal situation that was affecting recovery. Because once we kind of addressed that, it lifted a lot of potential drag in your nervous system, things that
yes.
were just, you didn't realize were holding you back a little bit.
Yeah. And also, you know, Junior has this amazing way of reflecting back to you what your actual strengths are and where he sees you really. And it felt so good because it was real and I could feel he's right. And I just suddenly, I feel so much love for myself now. Honestly, and I've been Louise Hay, this one, that. Like I say, I've been in this field for 60 years now, but I never felt it. I would pretend, oh, every time you pass the mirror, say, I love you. Oh, come on, you know better than. I'm my good friend to me. I love spending time alone. I have all these interests I'm pursuing, within my range. I get out
Mhm.
every day one way or the other, but and I don't make too many plans because I need the flexibility of
Mhm.
being able to shift. There's no failure in my life. It's like I didn't fail at anything. Whereas before, everything was a failure. And it's not. It's not at all. And so I'm joyous. I'm actually joyous. One thing I have been tempted to say, oh my God, why didn't I have this so long ago? I'm not even tempted because whatever time I have left, boy, there's no going back. I'm enjoying every minute of it. I'm not sorry. I'm just so happy. Yeah.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's
Yeah.
so beautiful. And I wanna go back to, like, your age being a factor in this. How was it, trying to implement these changes? Was it really difficult because things were set in stone for so many years, or did you feel like it was actually, once you truly believed in the system and the approach, that belief made it actually much easier to implement this stuff?
Absolutely. It was easy. It was fun. It was easy. It was fun. Then when I had
The
adjust,
the
yeah,
adjustment period.
yeah, I would feel despair, but it did not take long for me to say, okay, but let's, and I got out of it. That last one was tough because it lasted, I'd say, at least 3, 4 weeks. It was nothing had lasted that long, the entire 6 months at all. And I was, but I didn't in the end get to, no, no, it wasn't difficult. It was wonderful. And the positive feedback, you know, I have to say that the program is really exceptional in that, you only see your coach once a month and it's short, but it's so meaningful. Plus, those calls were like a lifeline, and the school was a lifeline. And I remember towards the end, I felt Junior said two things. He said, one, you're not supposed to feel bad that you don't want to see me anymore. I mean, I'm not here to be your best friend for life. I'm here to help you get on. I go, oh, I'm so relieved because I'm no longer that interested in follow on a bad day. I get on the school and I read everything. But, and then the other thing he said, which I thought was so important, I was not alone. Even when I had therapy, I go see the person once a week. They give you their ideas, and then you go home and you're alone. And I would write like crazy and get all this emotional stuff out. And but everybody, in the end, I I drove everybody crazy. Actually, I think, but they didn't help me. I had this therapist. When I think I gave her 5 years of my life, I trusted her, and all she made some real errors, like assuming that because I understood a concept, I was gonna. And finally, one day she said, I've given you all these tools. Why do you keep coming back? I can't help you anymore. And it was like she gave up on me. I don't know. There's something about the protective feeling I had, and I would go over the school materials. I would go over your tapes on YouTube. I would go listen to the school, write. And I came to two classes, calls every week. It was very supportive. I did not feel alone. And as I was kind of wending my way through this web, really scary, the labyrinth,
Mhm.
I felt like I was not alone.
Being around people who you can relate to, because it's also very isolating when
Mm,
you're kind of on this journey on your own, and you know, friends and family, they don't really understand what's happening. Doctors, usually they don't understand. And sometimes you really do feel like you're going crazy. You even stop believing yourself. You start thinking, am I crazy? Is this a dream?
mm.
This doesn't make any sense. So you can start to drive yourself crazy. So once you meet other people dealing with this stuff, very similar symptoms, same thoughts they have, same fears, same emotions, I it's there's some sense of peace knowing that you are not going crazy, and there's other people kind of in the same boat as you, but also people a few steps ahead getting
Yeah.
better, which is
Yes.
huge.
So inspiring. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And then you become that inspiration for other people because there's so many people who look up to you and, in the community as well. Um, Especially, I've said it a few times, being 86, it crushes that whole myth that, you can't recover past a certain age or you can't change because the patterns are too concrete. We've completely shattered that myth and misconception.
Thank
So,
goodness. What a
yes,
great to shatter.
absolutely, absolutely. So, for you, in terms of things that really helped you, that you did, whether you were in flare-ups or adjustment periods or things that helped you really expand activity and make progress. What are a few key golden nuggets that you can share with people, so that way they may take some of this information and they could apply it to their own recovery? What are some of the things that help you the most?
Well, I just happened to make a little short list. I was
Oh,
going through my little
perfect.
free journal. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, but I have it written down. Um, Number one was the awareness of the effect of emotional pain on my body. That was the most important thing. I mean, even the other day I said, yeah, it's your, you are hurting yourself again because you don't know how to deal with the situation. You're upset. You're feeling a bit. I stopped feeling like a victim 100%. I never feel sorry for myself. I mean, it's just such a shift. But that was critical,
Mhm.
realizing that, because in my case, it was way more emotional than anything else that would trigger the connection of the mind and the body,
Mhm.
the actual connection, feeling it, knowing that my body was trying to protect me and saying, and starting to feel safe. I have never felt safe. And I guess I was going to say that before. I was the type of person, if I got a new idea, I'd get so excited. Everything's going to be wonderful. I mean, like really bipolar practically, maybe really. And then the minute it came crashing down, I would go to the depths. But I always acted out professionally, da da da. My misery, except for my poor friends who had to put up with me, my
Mhm.
relationship with my friends has changed completely. I've spent an entire life listening to people and their problems and telling them about mine and commiserating and all of a sudden when I see people I just feel joy. I'm really interested. I want to see their I pull out the positive things they're doing. I never talk about my problems, about never. The fact that my entire life was run by fear, and honestly, Junior really pinpointed that. It was run by fear, and that was my default. And also, I was driven to fix things. And I couldn't tolerate silence of any kind. I could never meditate. I could never, I just couldn't tell, I couldn't experience things. That has changed. And I remember him telling me, Junior, give yourself 5 minutes of nothing. Try to be silent. And at first, I got a minute, and little by little, I started embracing silence. So that is very important. And unprocessed grief, not being able to feel the grief. And now that wonderful emotional thing that he wrote, that Junior wrote, that where you process the
Oh,
emotions.
yeah.
That's actually happening. I process them and letting go of the story. I'm glad I went over my note because these are the things that came out to me. Like saying there's a difference between this happened, I didn't get the job, and I feel badly about it. And, well, I didn't get it because I never get anything because I'm not good enough because that's the story. And to let go of that story, I'm not afraid. And I've always been afraid. I've always covered it up. I'm not going to go around saying I'm afraid, but I'm petrified of everything. And I'm not.
Mhm.
So that I think, and then something else. Well, understanding that my feelings that I was starving, that I had to eat, that you couldn't stop me no matter what, that it was a symptom, dealing with it as a symptom, and it completely has shifted. Now, that's something that has never shifted. I went on my first diet at the age of 12, and it has never shifted. When the
Wow.
comes back, it overtakes me, and it's gone. It is gone. It's
Wow.
wow, yeah. And finally, I think the idea of where we were training, practicing, always talk about your wins. Talk about the wins first. Your challenges, okay. Maybe give yourself a solution and then talk about your challenge. But first, your wins. No matter how small, there are wins. That was a very profound change. Yeah. And I
Mhm.
very early on, I was thinking, gosh, all this negative thinking, which I always have, the world's coming to an end, the sky is falling, and it takes up so much room. There are no room for wins. You get to the end of the day and everything's going wrong. It's going to go wrong tomorrow. It'll never. And look what happened over there, and look over there, and look at the news. Oh my God. And there's no room for you to flower, to flourish, to even be able to make a contribution to this crazy world. Whereas if you shift the mind, And that's it. That's why I tell you every day, I'm always grateful to you, to CFS. Because none of this could have happened. I have gone on to work an alternative medical
Mm.
holistic practitioner, not with the system at all. Oh my God. Look at me. I was like this, like this. I mean, really with my cane, my back. She's an osteopath. She's done biocranial, connecting mind and body. She's done drainage, getting my blood to circulate. She's the one when it was Ariel, when I was going on this cruise, and I said, they're going to give me 3 meals a day, and I don't know how I'm going to do this. She said, Ann, maybe you should think about it as an opportunity to try a new way of being with food. And I go, it'll never work, never. But I didn't say anything. And then she said to me, Ann, I mean, I don't know if you realize it, but I think your eating has a lot to do with your fatigue. And I said, you know what, Karina, don't even talk to me about it. I have nothing left in my life. I don't have friends. I can't go out. I walk to the thing. Don't take food away from me. And she, okay, you're fine. And then about 3 days later, she said, there's something to that. She's right. And then I remembered what Ariel said. And so when I went on this cruise, I literally, my friend, she said, let's make it a gourmet tasting. I said, okay. And that's what we did because she was on a medication, so she couldn't eat. And I was me, and I would take a bite and go, oh, I don't like this. And I threw more food away than I've ever thrown away in my life because I'm the type, that has to use everything up right. And I came back and I didn't gain weight. I wasn't hungry. I actually had gone through eating regular food and leaving. And so then I told her, I said, okay, I'm ready. You can tell me what I'm supposed to eat and not eat. Well, it was a whole detox program. And it took me like 3 months. I lost 7 kilos, that's 15 pounds. But we did it gently because of my age. She said, I could never do the osteo on you because I could break a bone. I
Mhm.
did a 5-day fast with juice. Your heart could go. So we went like every week, eliminating. And in the end, like now, today I'm doing a juice fast day. I love it. I look forward to it every week because it's a day of rest for me. At the beginning, it was like, oh, I'm going to starve. I can't. How can I go with that? I can't. Now it's like, oh, hey, it's a normal day. I'm doing fine. I'm just, so I could not have been so successful with all of this. And again, it's not like 100% yet. I may never be because I really am old, but I'm walking, I'm doing exercise every day. And she told me something also, which because I listen maybe to my body too much and I don't push. And she said that like even opening the tendons in my feet so that because I was losing balance they were like this and now they're open and it hurt. And she said, give yourself, push a little bit, try. If it's painful, stop. But realize that it's through the pain that you're going to get better. Don't overdo it. But, and I said, yes, she's right. And I never pushed, but I'm really doing it. I've got all these.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
discomfort phase of growth
Yeah.
that's
I'm in
required.
growth. Yeah.
Yeah, just like, very similar recovery. There's a lot of skills in recovery that are very transferable to life, and a lot of similar ways, just the way life plays out. Like, when you're recovering, the nervous system, you increase activity. There's this adjustment period. You have to deal with the discomfort. And if you do it properly, then, you level up. Same thing in life with any kind of skill you're going to develop or any kind of growth. There is that kind of window of discomfort that's required to get to that next level. And I think recovery just completely teaches you about that in a pretty extreme way,
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
very extreme, but it kind of forces you to learn those things because that's the
Yeah.
only way to kind of to solve, the nervous system issues that are going on,
Yes.
you
Because
know?
me, I ran away.
Mhm.
The minute it got too hard, the minute I mean, my mother trained me. Anyone who's stupid enough to get on the field with the ball deserves to get hit by it. I mean, that's how I felt about physical exercise. My father, he was a handball champion, but we had no respect for him. She had no respect for him. She was the intellectual. I mean, it was horrible, and I would never push. But now it's like, and then I feel so good afterwards, and I'm going, wait a minute, but not like I say, it's a dance. I think I was in a hibernating mode while I was recovering with you. None of these things were happening, but I needed to go in and restore, um, uh, you know, to learn these things and to be protected in a way. And now I'm coming out, and but it's no longer driven. It's no longer with goals. It's no longer with have to. It's no longer with lists. It's like it'll all get taken care of. It'll tell you, your body will tell you what to do. You'll know what to do. And it's just such a different way of living. And you're right. These are the things that were able to really make the shift in me. It will all, yeah. And honestly, I give you so much credit because I've been through many programs, many therapists. I've been trained. I've been blah, blah, blah. But it's amazing. It is just amazing because it's so me now. I don't have any fear that I'm going to go back.
You have that confidence, that inner confidence and trust in yourself, which, no matter what happens, you're always going to have that. And that's a part of you now. And nothing can ever take that away because you know what you're capable of as well. You trust your body and your brain and just your soul in a way that
Yeah.
it's gonna figure it out no matter what it is. So for people watching this right now and maybe they're in a dark place and they're wondering, is recovery even possible? I've had it for quite a while. Nothing seems to work out there. What are some words of encouragement that you can share with them, especially for, let's say, someone in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and they're thinking, oh, I think I'm past my prime. Life is just going to slow down from here, but they don't realize that their best days could be ahead. What are some words of inspiration, coming from someone like you who's kind of living that right?
Well, let me say two things. Before my recovery, I was absolutely miserable. There was very little. I couldn't do anything. I just always read a lot, but I mean, I just couldn't. Since my recovery, my life is absolutely fascinating. And it's fascinating. I'm involved in so many things in a capacity that I can do it. So, for example, I have one friend who's an amazing uh, AI person, bringing ethics to AI. She goes to Singapore, blah, blah, and I'm like her sidekick. I read all her new things, and I'm fascinated by this whole new field. I mean, me, Miss Non-Tech, but yes, even with that poor Brent going with me, that horrible Discord and not being able, I mean, nothing. I could never even make a video for you, so it wouldn't work anyway. Um, so, and I have another friend who's coming from China. She wants to start a business here. It's fashion. I'm a sidekick in a way to people who are doing really interesting things, and I'm doing as much as I'm contributing, but in a way by my own pace, my own standard. Well, I don't know what to say except that you never know when you're going to turn the leaf that the light shines from. You should not give up. Now, I'm lucky because I never gave up. I mean, in spite of everything bad and going, I always kept trying. But this remedy and that remedy, well, we might as well try. But a lot of them really work. And I don't know what to say. You have someone in there who I just love, so many people. I think her name is Dusty. She's a bike rider.
Hmm.
Oh, she inspired me. And all the things she said, I wish I could say, but I'm not a racer or anything like that. But don't give up. My God, once you see it, once you feel it, once you know it, you get glimpses of it and then you go back and glimpses of it. But these tools for reacting work. And then suddenly you find that it's you doing it. You don't have
Mhm.
to be told, you don't have to be reminded. It's you doing it. And then your life changes. It completely changes. Now I'm doing dehydrating. I've got an air fryer. I'm experimenting with all of these different. I mean, there's always something going on of interest. I want to knit again, but I don't know if I can. But do you know what I mean? It doesn't bother me if I can't. Whatever I can,
Mhm.
I appreciate. Whatever I can't, I'm not worried about it. So yeah, I feel blessed, very blessed. And I just want to say life is there. Life is there. And when you live with fear all the time, everything hurts. And every time you get the slightest little headache or anything, you just panic. You just, how can you? But the bliss of just enjoying the sea, taking a walk every day. Fortunately, I don't live in the US, have no car, and I live in a neighborhood where I have to walk everywhere. I can't take a bus. But it keeps you go out every day and you're walking and you see people and you're talking to people and I don't know, it's just given me life. It's given my life. And I never had a life before. So it's like a gift. It's like a gift, a real
Yeah,
gift.
I could feel that. I could feel that coming through in, like, how you describe things and how you share your story. It's very inspiring. You know, someone you've gone from somebody who was, just surviving and getting by to truly, truly thriving.
Yeah.
And it's like 2 different people. Yep, you got the thriver sweater. It's like 2 different people. The Anne that I spoke to last May, which wasn't that long ago if you think about it. In the timeline of life, that's a pretty that was like feels like a month ago, feels like last week actually. Um, and the Anne today, it's a totally different energy, a much lighter, brighter energy that's excited for life
Yeah.
and, making the most out of life.
I'm not sure I think this was you, but I'm not sure. There was an analogy of someone who's with a thing breaking a rock.
Yes, the rock splitting analogy.
Yes, and it never happens and it never happens. And then all of a sudden one day there it is. That was me. How did I remember that? Because you asked me to inspire, so it came. And that is what happened to me. And it was you. I do remember.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's exactly once that rock is split, it's split. And there's something else that follows someone else. Something else is a breath thing. But they said Michelangelo said, there's a block of marble, and he said, I see the angel within, and I
Yep.
just take away. And I think that light is in us. It's like when that rock splits, the light is there. So don't ever give up and take small bites, just enjoy 5 minutes doing what your heart tells you to do, or 15 minutes every day, little by little. Everybody works at a different pace, and I think I was over ready. So that's why it looks like it happened so quickly, but it did take 86 years
Mhm.
to the point where I finally cracked the nut.
Mhm. Yeah, there's this analogy, you can plant a seed in the soil, but only if the soil is ready for that seed, then it can grow. In your case, it was like kind of perfect. I wouldn't say perfect, nothing's perfect, but you went through a lot of years of trying different things, of trying to, figure yourself out, and you're in this kind of crisis mode. And crisis also brings on opportunity for change, because that's when people are most likely to change, because they don't have any choice but to change and try to improve their situation. So you came in open minded, and I remember a conversation. You were like, "Yes, I will follow the plan. I'll follow what you tell me to do. I just want my life back." And you know, based on what I've heard and what I've seen with the stories, I trust you guys. So just tell me what to do, and I'll do it. And even then, it wasn't the easiest thing to implement.
No,
Many uncomfortable times,
yeah.
many times where you're making progress and gaining momentum for weeks or months on end,
And
and then
then
you have a big flare up, and it's like, did I just cancel all my progress? Because I feel worse than when I started. But you bounce back even higher. You use it as a springboard,
yeah.
if done correctly, and you were able to, use that cruise experience and that flare up as a springboard. And look where you are today.
And I do think that when you actually feel these techniques working, actually feel them, you start to trust it. You start
Mm.
to feel safe and
Yeah.
feel like, yeah, this is real. It's my mind taking over or my emotions taking over when I reject it.
Hmm.
The thing I find so important when you try, it's very difficult. It's like you're trying and it's false. Like, I'm going to be happy today. I'm not going to. No, if I'm not happy, I'm not happy. Stay with the non happy, let it come from inside, see what needs to be done, and then it's organic. And then the change is really way more profound. Like I say,
Hmm.
still hard days, there are still crises, there's still, but the beating myself up is like 100% gone. Criticizing myself 100%.
Gone
Being
from
to me is 100% there.
Yes. Gone from your biggest critic to your biggest cheerleader. And
Yeah. Yes. There you go.
that's why you're living the life you live now. So, anything else you'd like to share with the viewers watching this right now? You shared a lot of golden nuggets. This was very inspiring. Anything you'd like to share with the audience or the team who's going to watch this as well? You've shared a lot of great stuff about the team, but um, any last message for folks viewing this?
Oh, I would just say that I love all of you and that it's there. You can get there and don't give up because it's so worth it when you come out on the other side. It is just so worth it. And
Absolutely.
you've got really good people in your corner, every one of you.
I love it. The best is yet to come. You
Yeah,
know, people don't realize it's not just getting back to your old life. You're actually creating a much better life.
much
It's
better,
even better than before.
way better, better than I've ever had. That is the point. I don't go back to pre-COVID days where I was still miserable. I'm not miserable. It's insane. And those roots are strong, and who knows? It's unpredictable, but it's all going to come out the way it's supposed to. And I can manage it. I can handle it, and I can enjoy it and love it. And
That's
yeah,
amazing. It's
yeah.
amazing. Well, everyone, I hope you got lots of value and inspiration out of this episode, this Recovery Voices episode. And it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. And it's like a full circle moment for me every single time because we had our initial call when we first chatted before you even joined and started. That was, what was that, about 6, 7 months ago, something like that, maybe
Yeah.
8 months ago. And it's such a world's difference. And I can always see it in people. I can tell a rough timeline of how long it may take to recover, but I also picture them on a call like this. Their kind of celebration interview where this is kind of like taking that next step of planting that flag in the ground of, hey, we did it. We are never going back. And for you guys watching this right now, and myself, everybody you see in these videos, we're human, just like you. We're not some crazy aliens with special superpowers. We've been in your shoes. We know what it's like to be at rock bottom, and we've got our lives back, and then some, right? Along with hundreds of other people who are recovering all around the world, right? So hope you enjoy this one. Leave a comment down below. What was your biggest takeaway from this episode? And if you feel like you needed more help on your journey, I'm just going to leave a link down below where you can apply for our recovery system just to see if, you'd be a good fit for something like this, to see if we can actually help you. But Anne, thank you so much. You're absolutely crushing it. And we'll even do a follow-up interview just to see where you're at in the near future when you
It's so
continue to
exciting,
crush it.
this
Yeah,
adventure I'm on. Where it's going to take me, I have no idea, but it's going to be great. Thank you so much. You have no idea how grateful I am.
you're
Thank you.
very welcome, man. You're
And
very
anything
welcome.
you can do to help spread the word because it really is miraculous.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And For all of you watching, always remember that you are a thriver and you are just one mind shift away from living a life with thriving health. So we'll see you guys in the next video. And thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Let's say that CFS recovery is absolutely the real deal.
I actually felt like somebody had an answer, like somebody explained what was going on, and it all clicked.